I've got 10 minutes to respond to all of the issues. It's good to see some passion, isn't it? This is serious stuff, and I'm happy for that. And Adnan, we're quite happy to disagree very strongly, and we will remain friends at the end of this, I hope. First of all, I was disappointed but not surprised to see that Adnan brought up a whole lot of things that weren't related to the topic. So I brought along my Red Herrings Awards. All I could get was sardines from Coles, but red herrings. So a couple of the things were, the New Testament is a poor source of Jesus. We're talking about Muhammad, not about the New Testament. The Bible on torture, we're talking about Muhammad, not about the Bible on torture, not about the Bible at all. Christians burning others alive, not related to the topic. It's a red herring. Another one, the wives of David and Solomon, not related to the topic. This is about Muhammad. Another one, he brought up Paul. I was waiting for this one, not related to Muhammad at all. Paul and Muhammad never met each other. And the last one, Psalm 91, not related. This was, it's not a messianic psalm. The only person who quoted it as relating to Jesus was the devil. So a bad one to line up with. So there's a couple of the red herrings that came up today, and I'll pass those on to Adnan now. And this will keep you in sardines for the next few weeks. Yeah. Let's get to the real topics. The question, he said, use only authentic sources. And the one that he objected to was Ibn Ishaq. But actually, I'm not sure that he believes that, because I do have here a video clip of him talking about Ibn Ishaq to a Muslim audience some time ago. Have a listen to what he says.
Who is the main historian we refer to for the life of the Prophet ﷺ? Anyone? The biography of the Prophet, sorry? Yes, Ibn Hisham. But who wrote the book of Ibn Hisham? Ibn Hisham is an abridgment of an earlier work, Ibn Ishaq. Muhammad bin Ishaq, who was born in the year 80 Hijri and died in 150-51. Muhammad bin Ishaq. So we refer for the life of the Prophet ﷺ to make sense of it in a chronological way to this history.
So what I want to know is, what new information about Ibn Ishaq has come up in the last few years that means it is now inauthentic? Because I'm quoting it, Muslim scholars quote it, At-Tabari quotes it, lots of other people do, and so did Adnan a few years ago. He talked about whether Muhammad had seen a demon in the cave, and both Ibn Ishaq and At-Tabari, the authentic historian, talk about Khadija saying, rejoice because by God the thing that you've seen is an angel and not a Satan. So these were the terms that came up in those early discussions. He talked about Muhammad promising paradise to others but not himself. Well, he did, and I recognise that there were 10 people that he promised paradise to, but what do you do with these words of Muhammad? He also said, I don't know what's going to happen to me, from the Quran. He also said in Al-Bukhari, I don't know what Allah will do to me. From Al-Bukhari, I don't know if I will enter paradise myself. These were authentic sayings of Muhammad. We need to deal with them. He said it was dangerous for me to criticize his view of Muhammad, but why was it not dangerous for you to criticize my view of Jesus on Friday night? What's going on here? We should have equality in that. Everybody should be equally free and equally open to express their views, even if other people don't find it comfortable. I sat there on Friday night, I heard him saying things about Jesus that to me were really quite offensive and wrong, and I didn't think that was dangerous for him at all. Why is it dangerous for me? That's a big question. He says that Muhammad pressed Aisha, it says, on the chest, and she says, which caused me much pain. So this was seriously not just a little touch. This was a kind of an intimidatory kind of push on her chest that she experienced. He said that he thought that the Jews actually coped better under Islam. Not if you look at your history. The Pact of Umar in 717 said Christians and Jews had to wear a yellow seam on their garments. In Persia in 807, they were ordered to wear a yellow belt. In Granada, in Islamic Spain, they had to wear a yellow badge. Hitler picked up the same kind of thing. This was something that continued on throughout history. The Jews did not do very well under Islamic rule. Here's details about the Pact of Ummah and all of the things that the Christians and Jews were not permitted to do. We're not permitted to teach the Quran to our children. We cannot manifest our religion publicly or convert anyone to it. We cannot prevent any of our kin from entering Islam if they wish it. But people were not allowed to leave Islam and become Jews, not allowed to leave Islam and become Christians, which is still the case today. We were not allowed to ride with saddles, not allowed to carry any kinds of weapons. They had to travel around unprotected. But the Muslims were allowed to carry weapons. So it was not an easy life for them, which is why Maimonides, probably the Jewish John Calvin or the El-Ghazali, he lived in Spain under Islamic rule, and he moved to Cairo because he would not adopt the Islamic faith. They gave him the choice: you either convert to Islam or you have to leave, or we will execute you. And he stated afterwards, he said, the nation of Ishmael, that is the Muslims, persecute us severely and devise ways to harm us and debase us. No nation has done more harm to Israel. None has matched it. The more they choose, the more we suffer and try to conciliate with them, the more they choose to act belligerently towards them. This was the testimony of a famous Jew who lived under Islamic rule. It was not a positive experience. He mentioned about a prophet who will come, who will be like me, and this is the verse in Deuteronomy 18. God will raise up a prophet among you, a prophet like me from among your brothers. And Muslims say, well, this was a prophecy about Moses, and they give a couple of different reasons for it. They might use a scale like this one. Left my thing here. Say, oh, well, look, there's some similarities between Moses and Muhammad, and Adnan used a similar kind of list to those things that they had done, but actually the same list applies to Alexander the Great. He did every one of those things as well. He had just as much claim, and the same with Napoleon. Every one of those things, both Napoleon and Alexander and Muhammad did. So it's not unique. There's no reason why Muhammad should claim that it's for himself. But if we have a look at how this compares with Jesus, we can see Jesus and Moses had more things in common than they had with Muhammad. All of these areas, Muhammad was not able to tick a single box on them. Jesus and Moses agreed on every one of them, and there's many more of these. In John 5 verse 46, Jesus referred that prophecy in Deuteronomy 18 to himself. He said, Moses spoke of me. And he said, everything that is written about me in the law of Moses, the prophets and the Psalms must be fulfilled. Peter said Jesus was a prophet like Moses. Stephen referred to in Acts 7. There's a consistent connection between the prophecy in Deuteronomy 18 and the ministry of Jesus. It's made through by different people within the New Testament. But why didn't Muhammad obey Moses' law? Moses said, do not erect a sacred stone, for these the Lord your God hates. But what did Muhammad do with the black stone in Kaaba? Well, he was the one who had taken the stone and actually put it back into the Kaaba. It had been washed out in a flood, and Muhammad was the one who was responsible for re-cementing it in there, even though God through Moses had said, do not worship black stones. So why didn't Muhammad do this? He continued to touch the sacred stone and kiss it and encourage people to do that. And if you're a Muslim, you can go to Mecca today and you can do that. A prophet like Moses would not do such a thing. He doesn't qualify to be called a prophet like Moses. And he mentioned about Paran in Deuteronomy 33. The Lord came from Sinai and dawned from Seir. He went forth from Mount Paran. He talks about 3 visits: Sinai for Jesus, Seir for Jesus, Sinai for Moses, Seir for Jesus, and Paran in Arabia for Muhammad. But in fact, Paran and Seir are near Egypt in the Sinai Peninsula. They're not in the place where he marked them on that map. We know the location of them. They're not near Palestine. They're not near Mecca. It was the Lord Yahweh who was coming in this prophecy. It wasn't someone else. It says, when the Lord Yahweh comes, he will go to these. He would come with a myriad of saints. He would not come with 10,000 or 30,000 soldiers as Muhammad did. But I will stop there. I've got a whole lot of others. Thank you.